Hello, 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 Facebook Emily. How are you this evening? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the season and beyond, enjoying life to the brim. Now, when I started this time, I was already on the screen. I do apologize. I forgot to put my flyer up there. I was trying to get my paperwork together here. But welcome, welcome, welcome. And I pray that all are well out there in the land. Tonight, I want to talk about forgiveness, right? And I think I talked about it. Maybe maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year or 2 years ago, about forgiveness. And I wanted I said that I wanted to talk about this. I was doing I'm doing this class, healing touch class, to be certified in healing touch. Oh, y'all, stay tuned, stay tuned. I'm gonna be doing this. Eventually, I'll be certified for it. About two more classes. And I took this class, and all the time that I was in this class, it was just so relaxing, right? It made your mind just, go to a place that you just didn't want to return back from, a peace, right? And it just made me think about, how in life, we tend to hold on to things, and with this healing touch, that's basically what it's about. It's like an energy, our energy be feeling, with each other, right? And we let go of a lot of things that's stressing us out and that's bringing us down, right? And I said, I just want to talk about this, and not saying that I haven't been in a state where maybe I haven't forgiven someone, and then later on down the line, I did. Because one thing that I think about with forgiveness is not it's not for the other person. It's mainly for, for me, for you. That's who the forgiveness is for. And I always do a definition of what forgiveness mean, and there's so many different ways that people would say what forgiveness is, and the forgiveness is different for everybody, right? But generally, however, it involves a decision to let go, right? And let go of things that when somebody has done to you, or whether you've done to yourself, and you just can't forgive what you've done, to yourself. And I said that I was gonna talk about my great niece, right? My niece's daughter, right? I went to pick her up one day from at the school care, I believe it was, and she's always like doing stuff, right? And I told her, I said, "Girl, you just a mess, and I'm just not gonna even speak to you today. I'm just gonna just let you just go on and just do what you do." And I was gonna try to put that song out there. Then she started singing that song, "Let It Go, Let It Go, Let It Go," right? And it tickled me so bad, right? Because we always, as adults, we try to show in front of our children, right? The right way to go and the right things to do, right? And I was a totally bad example for her on that day, right? But it really made me think about, the things that we hold on to, and we hold on to them so long that they turn into a grudge toward an individual, a grudge toward yourself, and you just seem to can't, let it go, right? And not only does it, make you have a grudge towards an individual yourself, when you see them come and you want to go in a different direction because of what somebody has done to you, or what you have done to that individual, right? But in this, what I learned, I got some things. This is not mine. I got some things from the class that I was taking, an energy book. It's called Energy, right? And one of the write-ups in there from Kate Stillman, right? She wrote in the forgiveness habit, right? And some of the things that was in there was just like awesome. And I just want to share some of those things with you. But before I do that, I got some things off online, and I want to share some of those with you also, about the benefits of forgiving, and things that will happen to you if you don't forgive, right? Do you know that when you harbor things in you that they can make you sick, guys. They can really make you sick. They can make you have your blood pressure can go up. You can be stressed out, get depressed, and all that when you let those things linger on you. I'm going to give you an example. I'm just going to be transparent tonight. Okay, I'm going to be transparent with one thing, and then I'm probably going to be transparent with something else. But as you know, I was a teenage mother, and the father, of my oldest son, right? He just really like it, just like really irked me about some things that he was doing, right? And so on down the line, I eventually got married and I moved to Raleigh. But before then, I was not speaking to him. I just could not. I don't think I spoke to him for almost 16 years, right? And then I moved back home, and I just felt like that it was a burden for me because I would see them, right? I said it's a burden for me to go on the other side of the road, right? So my thing is that if I don't forgive, then how can I speak to on behalf of this thing called forgiveness, to my children and to my nieces and nephews and stuff like that, and even to myself? How can I speak to them about that if I can't, forgive an individual? And it's not like that I was mean or anything. I just didn't have anything to do in it, but no excuse, right? So I took that burden off of me, and when I thought about it, after I did forgive, the individual, right? It was really truly like a load off of me, right? So in this write up, come on, tell me, that Kate Stillman wrote, she had some things in here that really made sense, right? About your health and forgiveness, right? I'm just going to read. I just put a sentence in that flyer, right? But I'm going to read the whole thing that she put out there, right? And it says there's an enormous physical burden to being hurt and disappointed, which comes in with the forgiveness part, why we won't forgive an individual, right? Chronic anger puts you into a fight or flight mode, right? Which results in numerous changes in heart rate, blood pressure, and immune response. Those changes then increase the risk of depression, heart disease, and diabetes. Did not know that, right? Did not know about the diabetes part, right? But kind of figure depression, right? Because when you just hold things, it makes you not move to the next level in your life, right? And move to another level when it comes to relationships, because you think that all people are going to treat you that same way. So what you do, you hold yourself in bondage for relationships in a personal way, like male female, whatever, female female, male male, whatever. It holds you, bounds you up from those relationships, right? And it not only bound you up from those, but it bound you up from friendship. Just having friends, because if one friend did you one way, you feel like that all friends are going to be the same way. And some people say, no, that's not true, that's not true. But that may not be true to you, but it's true to a lot of other people, right? And she also said in here, among other conditions, forgiveness, however, calms stress levels, leading to improved health, right? Like when you begin to start forgiving people, you begin to improve your health, like, right? Did not know that then when I had to forgive somebody, but I'm glad that I did it when I did, right? So it improve my health, and it didn't only improve my health. It took a load off of my shoulders, because even when you holding stuff like that, your shoulders, I think your shoulders carry a lot of your stress and stuff, right? And they'll be heavy and stuff, right? So it helped with those, and now my shoulders are mighty light there, right? So when you begin to forgive an individual and not even wait for that person to forgive you, you just forgive them and just move on, because that person may not be here, that person might be dead, the person may not even want to see you because of some of the things that you feel that that individual have done to you. And also, it's according on the situation, because some people have been abused. Some people have truly been abused, like sexual abuse, physically abused, mentally abused, and they can't find themselves to forgive that individual, and that's understandable. But for you to meet them like face to face and say, that I forgive you for what you done to me and all that stuff, right? But in your private moment, for so you can begin to get those things off of you, just forgive, because that individual may never come and say that they're sorry for what they've done, to you. So the best thing to do is for your health, for your welfare, for your continued life, living your life to the brim, is just forgive them and get some. I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, but get some therapy or some counseling, to continue to help you to move forward in your life for whatever has happened to you in your life. Okay, so some of the benefits of forgiveness is that wait a minute, I don't want to go to the benefits first. Let me do something else first. Let me go to why is so hard. Okay, I said some of the things why. I do apologize. Why is it so easy to hold a grudge, which I talked about? That is there's no telling. And you know what, guys, I just want to talk about injustice and not being able to forgive individuals, right? We have had things that has happened to us in our lives, right? And it has been injustice, right? Like for an example, I could think about my great great grands, and then my great great uncles and aunts and things, and even my mother, right? They have experienced things that we have not experienced, right? When it comes down to the Jim Crow things and stuff like that, right? And there are people now that will refuse to forgive about what happened in during that time, right? But I would say that the way you move on with your life is that you got to forgive what has happened, even though the individuals would not say, like I said earlier, about what they've done and stuff. And we find a lot of that, right? Even right now. And this is another reason why I think that this topic is good for now, because even the things that's happening right now bring back bad memories about what has happened to different races. As a matter of fact, not just the brown and the black race and stuff, things that has happened to us, right? And a prime example with the judge, the justice that we're voting for, that they're voting for now, which has already been voted in, right? All of the things that she went through from for confirmation for to be a judge. And you think about how the things that they brought up, why would you bring those things up? Now, is it in her heart to forgive that in those individuals that pressed those things on her, things that I was like, God, why in the world are you bringing this up, especially the book about children and racism? And I'm thinking, why would you bring those things up? So a lot of times the individual that's bringing up those things need to be the one that's apologizing. But when you really think on this thing, and this is another subject, but I'm going to say it anyway, when you really think about those things and what people say and what people do, um, in my opinion, I begin to feel sorry for those individuals, because I think that you're embarrassing yourself saying these things, because it's like anybody with any kind of uh, to bring things into common sense and some kind of knowledge about what's going on in there would say this is really crazy. And you know what, God, I'm just going to go ahead and forgive this person, because right now they are not working with no kind of common sense, right? And that's the way I look at a lot of things, right? When people say certain things, because I'm thinking, my God, did you even read before you even brought this up? Did you even think before you even open your mouth and said, these things? Because this is really crazy. And I'm going to tell y'all something. It's going up subject just a little tad. Some of these things that have been said that people need to say that they're sorry for, ask for forgiveness for. I listen to them, and sometimes I used to think that I was crazy on some of the things that was said and that was done, because I'm thinking common sense would tell you, boom, 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 right? But everybody don't work in common sense, right? So now is that now we had to, just forgive that individual, because they may just need to be on somebody's sofa. I'm just gonna say, that, right? So in this forgiving thing, how do you reach a state of forgiveness, right? That's the most important thing right there. How do you reach that point that you forgive? And like I said, early, my thing is I listen to those individuals when they're talking, right? And and since I'm an introvert, let me go. Since I'm an introvert, believe it or not, I think I'm an introvert, but with a little bit of extrovert in me, right? When I come on this live, and sometimes when I have to, speak in front of people, the extrovert begin to come out of me, some. But then when I finish, I gotta run and get that energy back. Boom, bring all that energy back in me. But as an extrovert, right? I mean, an introvert. A lot of times when people say things to me, I had to it just go in my mind, and some introverts may be like this and some introverts may not be like this, but I find that we have a lot of commonness, with us, with the introverts, right? If somebody say something to me, I'm going to put it in the back of my mind, or somewhere there, and it's going to go through a process. And sometimes it takes me a little while to even realize that you have insulted me, right? Or you feel this way, about me. And then a lot of times somebody had to come to me and tell me, exactly what that individual meant when they said that, or either in action, right? What that person mean, because in the meantime, I'm still processing that thing in the back of my head. I'm just processing it, right? And then eventually, maybe later on that day, it might snap and say, "Oh, is that what they were saying?" Or how am I going to come back processing on, okay, what am I going to say? What is my response going to be with that? And with my husband, we have a lot of problems with that. Like when he be talking to me and I be processing that stuff, what he's saying, and I'm thinking, what? Okay, so you said this, and I'm thinking, how did you really mean this thing, instead of just asking, now I'm trying to get to the point that I just boom, it just come out and I just ask it, right? But then when it all boils down, you have insulted me, right? And you should be the one apologizing. But I am in this state now. And a lot of people not can't be there, won't be there, but I am in this state now that I'm getting ready to be 60 in September, and I don't want to hold no grudges. I don't want to hold no animosity, any of that stuff against anybody, nor harm my health. So I'm going to immediately forgive you. If you said it, you're the one that's having a problem. I'm not having a problem right now. You're the one that's having a problem. So I'm just going to automatically say, I forgive you. Even like one time I was doing a live and with my friend Hakeem, right? And I did something to him, and he responded and let me know that it insulted him, right? So I immediately apologized to him, because I didn't want him to continue to go on like I intended to do this thing. So I immediately, apologized to him, and I think that's the way that you keep your health, keep your strength. Keep your mind say that you don't have to worry about always remembering, okay, so what did I do to this individual? Oh God, just apologize and move forward. If they don't accept it, that's between them and themselves then, right? But you've done your job, right? So how do you reach that point? I reached that point through processing. Like I said, I processed the thing and make sure which way this thing is going. Okay, did they really mean to insult me? Did they really mean, this thing, or did I interpret it Did I interpret it the wrong way or what? I'm just continuously doing that, in my mind. So what one of the this is the Mayo Clinic, right? They were saying this. How do you reach a state of forgiveness, right? How do you reach that state to say, that I'm going to forgive this person, or I'm just going to forgive myself and I'm going to move on because this person won't accept, my apology, for my forgiveness for doing this to that individual. What do you do, right? So what they say is that forgiveness is a commitment to a personalized process of change, right? To move from suffering to forgiveness, okay? Right? To move from suffering to forgiveness, right? And I never really put it together like that you're actually suffering, right? Because you won't forgive an individual, or you waiting for someone else to come and apologize to you, right? So you can forgive them, right? And you're suffering because that thing is, like I said earlier, is lingering on you, it's pulling on you, and it's making you feel some kind of way, and it's making you sick. I just had to bring that in. It's making you sick because you will not forgive that individual. You will not forgive yourself, right, for what you've done, right? So what they say is that to get to that point of forgiveness, or going to that individual, or just doing it yourself and just saying, I'm sorry, that person won't accept it, but I'm gonna do it for myself, forgive it, and then take the load off of me, right? So it says recognize the value of forgiveness and how it can improve your life, right? It can totally improve your life, because again, I'm saying, you don't have to always worry about when you see that individual walking on the other side. You can actually go to that person when you see them and speak genuinely. You really mean what you say when you speak to that individual, because you done already forgave them within yourself, not waiting on that individual to apologize to you or anything like that. You have already forgive them. So it's improving your life, that you can move on, with your life, and still communicate with that individual, right? And it also say it identifies what needs healing and who needs to be forgiven, and for what consider and for what, right? Let me read that again. Identify what needs healing and who needs to be forgiven, and for what, right? It identifies that thing. When you recognize it, you can identify it, right? What needs to be forgiven, right? And also what needs to be healing in you. What needs to be healing? Why do you need forgiveness? What needs to be healed on you, right? Why do you need to forgive? Why do you need somebody to forgive you, right? Whichever way it go, for the forgiveness part, right? Why do you need that healing process? And do you really need it, right? Sometimes I be thinking, when certain things happen to me, do I really need it? Do I really need for them to come back and say they're sorry? Like something happened on my job once, right? This individual was dishonest about me, and was spreading it, right? And I hadn't even been in this person's room, right? And they were saying all of these things about me, about how I was ghetto and stuff, and going to this person's room. And that's not even my character, right? And so when the person that they told came and said something to me, right? I'm thinking, I was processing it, of course, and I thought about that thing, and I said, is it even worth the conversation, with the individual, right? And I just forgave the person, right? I'm just saying, I know that I didn't do it, right? And there'd have been something, if I did do it, then I would just, I would say, I probably would go back to that person that they said I did it to, and apologize, right? But since I know that I did not do it, it's not even worth it's not worth my breath. It's not even worth me even speaking about it, right? So I just let it slide, and I never said anything about it. And the person that said it, I just speak to them like they ain't said nothing. That's going to be on their conscience, for saying something about you know what they said and stuff, right? That's on their conscience. It's not going to be on mine. I'm just going to just let it slide on through, right? And move on, okay? So, hey Lisa, how are you? So that's the thing. You identify that need, of healing, right? And then you just then you begin to then think about what, what, and is it Again, is it even worth it? Is it even worth your breath going and confronting the individual, especially again when you know that you didn't even, you didn't do it, it's a made up thing, or whatever. Just let it ride and stuff, right? And then it say consider join a support group or seeking counseling. And that's one thing that I said earlier. When you let something just weigh on you, and you know that that individual is not going to come, and apologize to you, right? And that thing is just eating you up on the inside. Go get some help. And you just feel like that you cannot forgive that individual. Please go get some help, because it's going to destroy, I said this earlier, it's going to destroy you and future relationships, right, with people, right? It's going to destroy, those things, because it's always going to be lingering on you what that individual did to you, and they did not even come, and apologize to you, right? So what you again have to do, I keep repeating this because I want it to sink, in someone's soul, in someone's mind, in someone's heart, right? To just forgive them yourself. Just say, I'm not gonna let this thing work me, for the rest of my life. So what am I gonna do? I'm just gonna forgive that person and move on. Okay. And then it says acknowledge your emotions, right? Acknowledge what you're feeling. You're feeling something. Acknowledge that thing, right? Acknowledge it about the harm done to you and how they affect your behavior, and work to release them. So to begin to release that, release those things that someone done to you, right? Acknowledge your emotion. Acknowledge how you feeling about this thing. If you mad, if you're just so mad that you could just put a hole in the wall, don't put a hole in the wall, because it's more money that you're gonna have to put out to repair the wall. Okay, but just acknowledge it, write it down, have a journal, just write. A lot of times that's how I think people write these books, that somebody has done something to them, and they're gonna write about it, because I think that's what the writer of Harry Potter. I think that she got a divorce. Her husband just walked out on her, something. I don't know exactly what happened, and she just began to use her imagination, and the Harry Potter trilogies just begin to come, out on her. So sometimes your hurt, the hurt that you feel, can move you towards what God has for you. Because the word of God say the trials that we go through is to make us strong, to build us up into who God would desire, us to be. But we have to know how to challenge those things, where to put, those things that we're feeling, and writing them down is a good thing. I know I tried that one time. I tried to journal, right? I'm gonna tell you, journaling, that is a really powerful thing. It is a powerhouse. Journaling your feelings, right? I know one time I was going through something, I tried to journal, right? And I was just writing. I was just writing. I think I still have it. I try to hold on to all of the bits of journaling that I do, right? Because I get one book and I start writing, and then I try to put that one to the side because it has tears all on it. So I couldn't. I like it, but when I do it, it just seemed like it just brings so much emotion out that I can't write anymore. So I just put it, to the side, and I try to go pick it back up, but I forgot which journal I started in, and I just started a new one, and stuff. But journaling, it is good if you can take, what you're writing, right? And one time I even tried to just write and don't I tried to not even, you can't, you cannot not think and write, right? I tried that, right? That is crazy, right? But I tried that, so I won't think so hard about, what I'm writing, right? To be able to get these things, out of me, all these emotions, all these things that, that I'm feeling, and, that won't hurt me, that has hurt me, instead of just try to put it out on the journal, right? But if you can do that, I think that that's a good idea, to release those things that you're feeling, of someone harming you, or, and stuff like that, or you harming yourself, and you need to release those things. Just begin to write it out or speak it out, whichever way that satisfy you. Okay. So, and then it says, choose to forgive the person who's offended you. And I said that early. You choose to forgive the individual, so that can be a load off of you. You just forgive them and try your best, to live your life like it's golden afterwards, because there's nothing you can do about the other individual. The only person that you have anything that you can control and have anything to do with about what you say is yourself. You can't control anyone else, only yourself. So when you choose to just forgive that individual, forgive yourself, you're taking that control back. No self-harm. That's right. Hey, Rach, girl, how you doing? Yes, no self-harm. So you forgive yourself and don't worry about that other individual. Just and move on. And like I say, live your life like it's golden. That song, Jill Scott, I love that song. Living my life like it's golden. And when you begin to feel that way about yourself, you know then that you have actually released those things. And you have and you can move on with your life. Hey, girl, we need to talk because you just left me. Girl, you just left me. Okay. And then move away from your role as victim. Now, that right there, and that's what I was saying earlier also. Move away from you being the victim. When I talk to I can only talk about me, right? And who and what I go through and stuff like that, right? You got to know that when you don't make yourself the victim all the time, because sometimes, in especially in a relationship, right? Sometimes it may not be that other individual. You just begging for him to forgive you. You need to tell me you sorry. You need to do this. You need to do that, right? But until you evaluate yourself and see exactly what happened in this situation, right? Instead of always crying, woe me, woe me, woe me. What? Why is it always happening to me? What? Whatever, whatever. Right? You need to evaluate that thing and make sure that it's not you. Make sure that it is not you. All right, girl, make sure that it's not you, right? So they saying, to reach that state, of being able to forgive or for ask for forgiveness, or you forgive you tell somebody else, that you're sorry and stuff like that, right? Is that you got to make sure that it is the other individual, and you may be the one that need to release some things, in your life, right? So release the control and power the offending person and situation have had on your life. Self-inflicted. Like Rachel said, yeah, no self-harm. Those self-inflicted things, right? You got to know what's what, right? And when you can't identify which way to go, right? You consider you the victim. Always it's always about you, and it's a lot of times it's not. So you got to realize, you got to be able to understand which way it should go, and the only way that you can do that, you got to have you got to do some mind clearing and regulate your mind and get to that point to be able to realize that. Okay. So and then it says, as you let go of grudges, you are no longer define your life by how you've been hurt. You might even find compassion and understanding for self, right? Not only for you can find compassion and understanding for the other person, because sometimes that other person that went through something. That other person act the way they do, or do the things that they do because they feel like that they've been hurt or they have gone through things, right? We got to understand this stuff as a whole, right? What's going on, in a holistic way, holistically, what's going on with that individual, and begin to have some compassion and some understanding to find this, to see why why we do things to ourselves, why we do things to other people, right? What's going on with us, what's going on with that, right? So those are some of the things that when you reach the state, of forgiveness. How do you reach that? How do you reach that stage? Okay. And Rachel, that's out there, we I did a book thing with her not too long ago, right? And okay, Rachel, you need to come back so we can go back through that book again, or your other book. And some of those things were in there, in her book. So we got to realize those things. We got to realize when we're being abused, when we're being hurt, because a lot of times we suffer things because we don't even realize. that things are happening to us. We're being abused and stuff, and then it start harming our health and stuff. And the other individual may not ever again apologize. They might not never apologize to you, but you have to get to that state that you understand what's going on with you, what's happening in my life, why am I feeling like this, why is my blood pressure so high all the time. You being abused, okay? You being probably mentally, verbally abused and stuff. So just begin to realize those things, right? Okay, that's what they're saying is that when do you need forgiveness? How do you know you need somebody need to tell you they're sorry, or you just need to forgive that other individual? Okay, so what happens if you can't forgive someone? And I talked about that earlier. Also, it's according on what the situation is, right? When you talk about like sexual abuse and stuff like that, that is a hard thing for individuals to forgive their abuser for, right? So we got to know, about people also. That's why that last part where I say, compassion and understanding for individuals, right? Because we don't really know what people are going through. I haven't been I didn't haven't gotten the okay to speak about this, but I want to get the okay from my family to speak on some things because and I really would like for them to come on with me because there are some things that has happened within our family that there is a lot of hurt that's going on with them, with the individuals, right? And I think that sometimes you need to get together, you need to talk about those things, you put it out into the atmosphere, with someone that's going to be mutual with neutral with individuals, with a group of people, right? So you can begin to start healing, on the inside from things that has happened to you. That the person that have done this to you ain't gonna never come and apologize to you, but you still feeling that hurt and that anger, within you, but not willing to talk about it, so you can begin to get that healing. So, what happens, when you can't begin to get that process can't you can't how would I say this? You won't begin to start that process of healing inside you to be able to forgive the individual that has wronged you, right? And I'm not just going to say it's in my family. I can only talk about my family, right? And not only within my immediate family, but outside, my family, like cousins and aunts and uncles, and and boom, like those individuals, that they have been hurt within in there, but not willing to talk about it. So the only way that you can be healed, the only way that you can move forward in your life is you need to begin to identify those things that has pulled you, that has torn you up on the inside, that people can actually see on the outside, facial expressions and actions, and body movements, on the way that you respond to certain things, in your life, that you have not forgiven, someone, right? And a lot of times, hey Gina, how are you? And a lot of times, you just have that in you that you're just not gonna forgive that person. I never forgive that individual, and say it with anger. So that means that you're gonna hold this thing for the rest of your life. Your relationships with people are always gonna be affected, and you may not ever be able to have a relationship with people, a true relationship, because you're harboring those things, those feelings, inside of you, that's making you sick, so sick sometimes, that if you see that person from a distance, or if you see somebody that remind you of that person, you just get sick, so sick that you probably want to throw up and stuff like that. But there's help, for feeling, that way. And some people, again, may just don't even want to help, just want to keep harboring that thing and just go on the rest of their life, like that. But as for me, I don't want to go on the rest of my life harboring stuff and not enjoying my life and not smiling and truly, and truly feeling this smile, right? I just don't want to do that. That's why I named this, living my life, you know, enjoying my life to the brim, right? Enjoying my life to the brim. I think I put the wrong thing on there today, right? But I want to enjoy my life to the brim. And when I say to the brim, to the fullest, till it overflows, with enjoying it, right? So forgiveness can be challenging, especially if the person who's hurt you doesn't admit it. And that's what I was saying earlier. When somebody don't admit that they hurt you and in your face saying, I didn't even do that, I don't even know what they talking about. I didn't do that. They just trying to blame me for stuff and I didn't even do that, right? They don't want to admit it, but without a shadow of doubt that they did it. And the individual that's saying it probably know that also. So what do you do? Practice empathy. But first, take care of yourself. You gotta take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, there's nothing that you can do to resolve that situation. You gotta make sure that yourself is taken care of. That's why I refer therapists and counselors to any and everybody. That's my referral. That's my thing. You need to go lay on somebody's sofa. You need to go sit in somebody's chair for a little while so you can begin to heal from the inside. You got to start from the inside. You got to start with yourself to be able to heal from those things, right? And the only way that you can have empathy, the only way that you can have compassion and understanding for the person that abused you is that you got to be healed. You got to be healed from the inside. You got to be healed. Okay. And it also says, ask yourself why he or she would behave in such a way. Why do you think? And I said that earlier. We talked about that on being able to reach the stage of being able to being forgiven, accept someone's apology, right? Is that you got to understand that individual also, right? Why in the world would they do that? What in the world happened to them to make them, treat me or say these things or whatever to me, right? What happened to that individual, right? And believe it or not, guys, the majority of the time something has happened to that individual to make them do the things that they do. You think about with a lot of abusers, they done seen somebody in their family abuse somebody in their family the majority of the time, right? Or they feel something, they feel less of a person, to and then go and abuse somebody else because somebody has destroyed their ego, and that's in male and female. Sorry, male or female, right? That somebody can destroy your ego to make you treat somebody, a certain way. So a lot of times you got to go in somebody's history to find out, start asking questions, to find out why that individual, act the way they do and why they doing this and why come they won't come and ask for forgiveness because they ain't never seen it before. They ain't never seen forgiveness. They ain't never seen it. So sometimes people have to be taught that, I'm going to come, I apologize to you, and boom, bam. Sometimes you have to take the first step. Sometimes you got to take the first step and move on, right? And then it says, reflect on times you hurt somebody. We all done hurt somebody. We all done said some things that we should not, have said or done. We all, have done that, somewhere, in our life. We done messed up, So, we got to think about ourselves. What have we done, right? And learn how to, accept your mistakes, accept what you've done, and apologize. Okay. And then it says, I talked about the journal, when you can't get to that stage of forgiving someone or apologizing to someone, right? Write it down, begin to write it down until you get to that point that maybe you can do it, right? And then it says, be aware that forgiveness is a process, God. This thing is a process, like I said earlier. You got to build yourself, up to that thing, right? Because of what has happened to you. We don't know your situations. We don't know what has happened to you. So it's a process to build yourself, up to that. And again, I say you may have to go. You might need to have therapy. You might need to have counseling to be able to get to that point, to forgive that person, or you apologizing for you to forgive that person or for you to accept that person's apology. That's what I meant to say. Apologize. You got to build yourself up to that thing. It's a process. It's not like something that work overnight, and it's according on what it is, what happened, right? And even small hurts may need to be revisited and forgiven over and over again, because sometimes that stuff might boom, it might come, it might come back up again. You know, sometimes, sometimes you can smell something that'll make a memory, come back up again, right? Like I always think about when I smell honeysuckles, right? I always think about when I think I was in the third grade, and I was a little chubby something, right? And I had on this, I think it was a jumper, and we had something at our school, and everybody was able to run down, and they was telling people to come up on the stage. It was Easter, and everybody they told people to run, the kids to run to the stage and jump up on the stage, right? Guys, I ran down there and tried to jump on that. I could not get up on that stage for my life. Everybody else was jumping up on there. And so one of the teachers said, Pamela, just come around and walk up the stairs. And I was so embarrassed. I couldn't forgive myself because I felt like I was overweight, and that I was the only one that couldn't jump up on the stage. So I harbored that thing about myself for the longest, right? And so one day I just said, okay, so what? You know, I just had to forgive myself. I just gotta, just say, count it as just an incident that happened, in my life and stuff, right? And it's a little more to that. Then the kids, was picking on me and stuff. So those things, kids will be kids, right? So I had to realize that, when I got older, that kids are gonna do and say things because they're pure. Anything will come out of their mouth, right? And so I just had to say, I count it as just, again, an incident, that happened in my life, and I just moved on. But I ain't gonna never forget it. That's why I say when it come up again, I think about it, and sometimes I even laugh about it, now and just, move on and just count it as, again, that this happened, right? Does forgiveness guarantees reconciliation? No, it does not. You've already had to build yourself up. You had to go through a process to even get to the area of even accepting the apology, or either saying that you were sorry to someone, right? So does it guarantee that you're going to be reconciled? No, it does not. But what it does is, come on, girl, what it does, it release you from those things and help you to move on with your life. You've done it, you apologize, and they apologize to you, or whatever. Now you just move on with your life. And again, count it as though, like the water go down the drain. It's gone down the drain to be seen no more. But you know, it may not be that point, but you may not ever reconcile. I don't know. But it says if the hurtful event involves someone whose relationship you otherwise valued, then you may not ever, reconcile with that person because you value them and you respect them so much, right? And they did this to you, and that's the way it is with children that have been abused by their parents, sexually abused and physically abused, verbally abused, right? They may say that they're sorry, but that thing gonna still be lingering, in your head, especially if they raise their voice again, then that thing is going to come back, right? That voice, right? Just like I say, when I smell honeysuckles, even though I love the smell of honeysuckles, that memory always come back in my mind, right? So that voice, when they hear that voice again, it may come back and bring you back to that thing, right? And to say to you, I can never, be with this person. I can never, because that voice is just like boom. So you never reconcile with that individual, right? And reconciliation might be impossible if the offender has died, right? You may not ever be able to reconcile with them because they died, right? And now you have in the head, yeah. And now you have that thing that, that you're going to keep carrying on with you to say, well, God, then there's going to be another thing that's on you why you need to probably go to a therapist or a counselor. That it's always going to be in your mind. I never was able to apologize to the individual, and now they did, whatever. They never apologized to me. And I felt like that they should have apologized to me. So what's going to happen? You weren't able to reconcile with them. It's going to always be, in your mind with a smell or a word or a voice that you hear or anything like that. It's always going to come up. And that's why you need to do their therapy or go to a counselor so you can work those things out, right? So it says forgiveness can take away the power the other person continues to dwell in your life, right? And I can't speak on this enough, is that you don't want anybody to have control, that much control of your life, right? When you won't forgive an individual, you let that thing hold on, or it doesn't come to you and tell you sorry, or you didn't say sorry, whatever it is, right? You give that person control over your life. You don't want that. They got control over you, that when you see them, or you can't go to certain places, or you can't drive this kind of car because this is where they offend me at, or whatever. Or I never wear a jean jacket again because that's when they did what they did to me. That's control. They got total control over you. Don't do that. Don't let people have that kind of control of your life. You want to live your life again like it's golden. You want to enjoy your life. Don't let people have that kind of control, over you. Even yourself, you have all of that thought in you, or not wanting to what was I going with that? I'm sorry. Even with yourself, not being able to give yourself, you got all of that you've done something. Okay, you oh, give me a good example. I don't know, you done something to yourself, and ah give me a good example. Maybe you were like I was. Maybe you was a teenage mother, right? And you feel like you disappointed the family and stuff, and your family say, everybody make mistakes, um, and just forgive yourself and just move on. But you cannot let that thing go. You cannot let that thing go that you was a teenage mother, and you destroyed the family, or you was a drug addict and you destroyed the family. But look at you now. You went to recovery and you recovered. Or if you was a teenage mother, you finished school and you went to college and you live in you have a good job and stuff. God, forgive yourself and move on with your life. Don't let that situation control you. Just look at what you accomplished. You was a teenage mother. Look what you accomplished. I was a teenage mother. I graduated. I went to college, and I'm still in school. I mean, got a degree, got this degree, got these certifications, and did this and did that. You showed you be an example for someone. Forgive yourself and be an example for someone. But don't let that situation control you and keep you back. In when that thing happened. You're just keeping yourself in that situation. I don't do that. Forgive yourself and move forward. Move forward to the next level in your life. You have a purpose. Move forward in that purpose that God has designed you for, and let those things go. Okay. And then I'm going to end this up on this. What if I'm the one who needs forgiveness? Right? Well, the first step is to honestly assess and acknowledge the wrongs you've done. If you've done something to somebody, acknowledge that thing. Just come and apologize. Just say, I did this. I am so sorry. That I've offended you, and just move on, because that controls you too. You got this thing, just hovering over you that you did to someone, right? It's just hovering over you. Every time you see that individual, either you get mad because you done it to them, or either you turn the other corner, like I said earlier, and go in a different direction. No, you letting that thing control your life. Don't let stuff like that control your life. Move on with your life. Like I said earlier, I'm 59. I'll be 60 in September. September the 4th, as a matter of fact. And I don't plan on letting things like that stop me from being, me, being Diane, and enjoying my life. If if I have done anything to offend you, to harm you, I apologize. Ain't nothing wrong with saying you sorry. Ain't nothing wrong with just saying, I'm sorry. If you intended to do it and it hurt they feeling that bad, just tell me sorry anyway, and just move on. You know what I mean? And just and just move on with your life. Don't let it just keep hovering over you. That individual, they say maybe you said it in a bad way, and say I didn't mean to say it that way, but I meant to say it. Let me rephrase it. Let me say it in a different way, but I meant to say it right, because you don't know what that individual has gone through. That's another thing. You just said something to that individual. You don't know what that person has gone through. They might have gone through some verbal abuse, followed up with physical abuse, right? So you got to watch how you say things to people, right? Because that can trigger them and make them regress from their recovery from what they've gone through, right? So there's no harm in saying that you're sorry and having some empathy and some compassion and understanding, with individuals, because we don't know what people going through right now. You can have a friend sit beside you right now, and you don't know the half of what that person is going through because they figure that they can handle the thing by themselves, right? But then you done said something to them, that's verbal. You done raise your voice at that individual that has triggered them. So we got to be careful about, how we talk to people, and how we talk to people, and how we always say, "Oh, girl, you're gonna be all right. Oh, God, you're gonna be all right, man." No, they might not be all right. I have seen a whole lot of stuff while I have been a chaplain in the hospital, that the littlest things can trigger you, and make you go off the edge, right? So, be careful, about the words that come out of your mouth, and how they come out of your mouth, because you just do not know what that individual that you're talking to have gone through. And be willing to, say you're sorry. It's a word, with a lot of meaning behind it to some people. And some people say, "Oh, that's all right, you good." But sometimes you say that and don't even really mean it. And then later on down the road, you bring that thing back up. Man, we know you didn't mean it. That thing hurt you. So if somebody apologized to you, be willing to accept it and move on with your life. And if you've done something to someone, be willing to say that you're sorry, to that individuals. Forgiveness is really a healing thing, to individuals and to yourself. Be able to forgive yourself, be able to forgive other individuals, and be able, to say you're sorry, be able to accept forgiveness. That's what I mean to say. Be able to accept someone saying that they're sorry. I think I said that right. Three ways. Be able to forgive yourself, be able to forgive others, and be able to accept someone asking for forgiveness. Okay. All right, guys. All righty. Thank you guys for coming out. Share this. Somebody may need to hear it. And I pray that it helps somebody out there. It helped me most definitely. When I talk about stuff like that, it continues to heal me also, to be willing to forgive myself and to forgive others, and to be able to accept someone else asking for forgiveness from me. So, okay, so take it and run with it. That thing, that Habakkuk, the verse in Habakkuk, to write the vision and make it plain, so the others can read it and understand it, and that they can run with it. I coincide. I wrap that up in that also, that write the vision of you being sorry, or you accepting, someone's apology and stuff. And then that you love yourself. Wrap your arms around yourself and squeeze yourself and love yourself. Okay? All right. Thank you guys again for coming out to Season and Beyond, enjoying life to the brim. Enjoy life, guys. Enjoy life. Enjoy life. And take care of yourself out here. Guys, know that this virus is still out there. We're not wearing masks the way we were, but know that it's still out there, and take care of yourself, guys. Okay. All right. I love you. And there's nothing that you can do about it but love me back. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Amen. 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 We're in the background.